What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video, we're going to be going over why Ruby's not done, what's going on, what's going to happen, and the future plans for this upcoming year, and kind of a bit of an explanation of what's happened this year. So right here, we're at the shop right now, where you guys will see a transformation video on this car. We're doing the chrome delete right now. We have Clue's car here. We're going to be doing a lot more work on this thing as well. And then we got more cars parked outside there we're going to be doing more work on. So first off, I want to say Merry Christmas to you guys. You guys are probably watching this on Christmas Eve. Some of you guys might watch this on Christmas Day, I'm not sure, but whatever it is, you know, it's a day before Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas to you guys and Happy New Year. So today we're going to be going over is what's happening with Ruby, the motor, twin turbo, where the car's at, what's happening, and a lot of questions that a lot of you guys have been asking me. Some of you guys even comment on my picture saying, where's the car, which is still sitting at SoCal Z out in Riverside, which is about, without traffic, 2 hours down south from me. With traffic, you're probably looking at about 3 to 4 hours with traffic, but the car is sitting over there. The last video that we uploaded was with putting the AG wheels on the car. The car still looks decent, but you know, it's been a little discouraging on what's been happening throughout the year with the car, with the motors, with getting scammed for 2 motors and all that stuff. So it's been about almost exactly a year, or over a year now. Yeah, it's been about over a year since we started this whole twin turbo project. The whole purpose of this was to be the most high mileage twin turbo car, which didn't end up working out after running it the first time around, because turned out the turbos were bad, which I didn't know. I should have had them checked, tested or something. I'm not exactly sure what the process is for that, but the turbos ended up being bad. The motor was drowning in oil, because all the oil that was being fed through the turbos was going into the cold side through the, you know, where it goes through the piping, the intercooler and all that stuff, and it made its way all through all the piping and into the motor, and it was basically drowning the motor in oil. So we had that issue. We had to pull the motor out again, take the turbos off, and then I sent the turbos to get rebuilt. And yeah, that's basically what happened first time around. Car ran pretty good for like the first 30 minutes. I was super happy. I was super excited. The car was, we ended up hitting like 15 pounds of boost on that thing, but regardless, I was super happy with it up until the point where we found out the car started drowning in oil. So after this motor started kind of going bad and we had to pull it out a second time, so it was the original motor, 250,000 miles. It technically still fine to run NA, just not with the turbos, because it's kind of risking it. You're basically like setting off a ticking time bomb on what's going to happen with this thing. Who knows? Might blow up, might not. But we're not going to be using this motor anymore unless I literally want to run it back to NA and continue with the high mileage. But it's not really worth it at that point. So that's when I decided to buy another motor, which is that one over there. You guys can see that motor right there. I ended up buying that one from a guy out in Sacramento on Facebook Marketplace. My mistake, paid him cash, and then just to find out that the motor does not work at all. Like there's zero compression on almost every single cylinder except one. So I paid $2,000 for that motor that didn't work. And then after that, I ended up buying another motor, which was supposed to be this one. And it was supposed to be fully built with ARP head studs, main studs, pistons, rods, billet girdle, cams, and all this other stuff that was supposed to be on it. And in the end, the motor did not come with any of that stuff. And when I went ahead to pull the oil pan off this thing, I saw there was like a little bit of metallic look into the oil. So then I kind of questioned it, and then we took it back to my old shop back when I was in Santa Barbara, and it turns out the bearings were shot on this thing and there was nothing we could do about it. Basically had to rebuild the motor. We have to rebuild the motor from scratch again. So that within itself was $7,000 just gone, basically gone to the trash, because it was basically, you know, buying motors that don't work. And then even though they both claimed that the motors worked, and then in the end, neither of the motors were good enough to be running. So that's $7,000. Then the turbo kit cost me $4,000, and then I ended up spending another $1,300 on rebuilding the turbos. So that's your over $12,300 on that already. And then apart from buying everything that was supposed to come on this built motor, I ended up buying everything that was listed on there: the ARP head studs, main studs, the billet girdle, piston rings, the boundary engineering, oil pump gears, a bunch of stuff. And in the end, I ended up spending another $3,000 on all that stuff that we need to rebuild this motor. The only thing that this motor actually came with was the pistons and the rods. Everything else was stock, so I ended up buying everything else that was on that list, and I ended up spending another $3,000. So right there, we're over $15,000 on this, and the car's not even running. The motor's not even in it. And then that's not even including, I bought these aluminum valve covers, the CGM fuel rails, the 1050cc injectors. What else did we do? I spent, I think, about $500 on braided hoses and lines and custom stuff like that. So I think the last time I added it up, we were at over $18,000 spent so far on the turbo kit on this whole project. $18,000 so far, and this is where we're at right now, $18,000 deep, and we have not finished. So in the process, when we tore this thing apart, I ended up doing polishing more stuff, because it's a show car and I wanted it to still look nice and decent. As you guys can see, we got the engine mount here, this cooling pipe here, and then since we had this spare motor, we got it polished. Even the engine mounts are polished. The back timing cover, which is this back end piece, is polished. All the intercooler piping, we got it professionally polished as well. So all this is done up, looking nice. This is my original Furuki intake, but we have the front timing cover from this motor polished. So all we have to do is just transfer these caps over, transfer the Cosworth over, the valve covers over, the fuel injectors. So far we're $18,000 plus into this thing, and we are not done yet. So $18,000, that's a lot of money, and I know by the time I'm done, I'm gonna be well over $20,000 into this thing. $20,000 is a lot of money to put into a car that's only worth $4,000 or $5,000. I bought the car for $5,000 back in 2018, and to be putting this crazy amount of money on just the motor stuff alone is insane, and it has not helped that I've had to move basically twice this year. So when I got the shop in Santa Barbara, I was still living in the studio where I started out from. That's where I was at up until the beginning of this year. I think it was February where I got the call. I knew that eventually I was supposed to move out, but they kind of kept pushing it back, and I was okay with it. And then next thing you know, February came around, the landlord hit me up saying, hey, so you got to move out because we want to rebuild the place where you're at, because they ended up rebuilding all the houses around me except my place. So then I had the shop in Santa Barbara, so I relocated to Santa Barbara. And then, you got to put down a lot of money. I had to sign a lease to a studio that I had out there, and paying shop rent, and then rent where I was living at, it was pretty expensive. And then just for a couple months later to get the news that I had to move again from the Santa Barbara shop location, because a hotel bought the property and they were going to demo the whole place down. So there was nowhere I could relocate in Santa Barbara. So I ended up moving down south by like almost, I think it's about almost an hour from Santa Barbara to here. So then I had to cut my lease from the studio where I was at, lost the deposit on that, and then I had to spend even more money on relocating over here, and then I think average about that. ended up taking like another $10,000 from having to relocate twice on, you know, rent, deposit, and all that stuff. So it kind of like just took a huge blow on me, and it kind of just set me back, and I like put my mindset in a place where I was kind of like, yo, like I need to like chill on spending money, because it's a lot. It's a lot of money that's basically gone now. So kind of having one thing after the other, getting, you know, fucked over with the motors and all that stuff kind of really set me back, and it really discouraged me on trying to finish this project this year, and then missing out on all the shows and all that stuff. It's kind of just like, yeah, it just really discourages you to like keep spending money on it. There was times where I even wanted to, you know, just say, fuck it, part up the car and start over. But I didn't want to do that, just because, you know, it's a lot of time, money, and effort, blood, sweat, and tears that has gone into this project, into this car. And, you know, I just didn't really want to start over again, even though, you know, when one thing after the other keeps happening. So all that just gets really discouraging. And then even more so when you find out that, you know, your car gets broken into out in Riverside, and when before SoCalZ moved to their newest location, now the car's indoors in their showroom. But prior to that, like the car was kind of just getting slowly beaten up little by little. Like there was a time where we were rolling the car outside on the little rollers, so you could push the car around without having to, you know, drive the car or whatever. One of those rollers got caught on something, and it pushed down, and it came off the wheel and went straight into the fender. So the conversion fenders on my car on the driver's side by the vents, it's all bent up now, and I think one of the vents cracked, the weld's cracked, and the vent's just flapping around now. So I need to redo the fender now. And then later on, for the car to be sitting outside, it got broken into. They got into the car, they stole the whole center console area of the car, where the boost controller was, the stereo, the JDM doubled in part of it. So they stole that. They tried taking the wheels, because all the lug nuts were loose, but since the car was aired out, they couldn't do nothing about it. And they ended up using like a pry bar on the carbon trunk, and they cracked the carbon trunk on the bottom. They chipped a little chunk off of it, and, you know, they're leaning it up against the wrap, and it was, you know, tore the wrap too as well. So, you know, a lot has happened. Is now I basically have to rewrap the whole car, fix everything that's broken, replace parts now and stuff like that. So I need but whatever, you know, all this shit's going on, but regardless, I want to keep the car. We're gonna keep the car. We're gonna finish this twin turbo project. I want to, at this point, I don't even care what horsepower it does. I just want it driving reliable, where I could just drive it wherever the hell I want. I want to do shows in NorCal again, you know, just driving from SoCal to NorCal and back, and staying out there a few nights. It's always fun. Trying to do, you know, shows in Arizona, maybe even Texas at some point, but I want to be able to drive the car reliably with no issues anymore. We're definitely not giving up on Ruby. I'm not gonna get rid of Ruby. Just wanted to confirm that with you guys. We're gonna finish it, but like I said, it's just a lot of money that has been spent this year, and I just wanted to give it a break and catch up on, you know, saving money at this point, because money's the issue. Money's always been the issue. In the beginning, I thought I had a certain budget for it that I did not want to exceed, and we just blew right past it from the very beginning, and then even more so with the two motors that went to shit. Yeah, it's been crazy. It really has not been my year. There was personal stuff that I was going through with the family and shit like that. I don't really talk about my personal life. Anything that has to do with cars is cool, but my personal life itself, I just keep it out of social media completely. So there was stuff that I was going through in my personal life as well. 2023 has definitely not been my year, but I'm hoping next year we'll finally get this done. We have plans on getting this motor fully done by January. I'm hoping to have the car up and running 100% by February, and then I do want to have the car looking show ready the following month, because there's a lot to fix. But if we do get the car up and running and reliable early in the year, I kind of do want to do a couple track events. I want to take it to the track. I want to get a set of coilovers so I could actually take it to the track, enjoy it, enjoy the power, and have fun with it, I guess you could say. And before we know show season starts, and then I have to fix everything that's messed up on the car, you know, the trunk, the wrap, the whole center console. You know, the car's just been sitting collecting dust at this point. You know, luckily it's in the little showroom, so it kind of doesn't get as dirty as it would sitting outside. So I think every now and then they give it a couple wipe downs just to make it look decent out in the showroom. But you know, we do have more upgrades coming. You know, a lot more interior stuff is going to be going in. The dash is getting done. We have carbon door panels, carbon rear panels. We have the 6-piston Brembos that are going to be going on as well. So there's a lot more mods to come, even after the twin turbo that I've just been collecting on, and they've just been sitting ever since. So once we get the car up and running, you know, there's still plenty of content left. And then, you know, of course, drive the car, enjoy the car. So that's gonna be coming soon as well. Probably gonna be getting rid of the power steering, and we're gonna be going electric power steering. So we're not gonna have the pump in here anymore. And I need to custom cut this bracket, which we have plenty of others now, since there's another one right here, cut further down right here. So we could just run a belt that goes like that. So we need this pulley to go further down and then just tension it upward. So we could just have a band right here, and we'll have this open space right here, since we're not going to be running the power steering pump anymore, especially since it doesn't even work to begin with. It's never worked ever since I've had the car. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it doesn't. And then once we did the turbo, it completely stopped working. So there's no point on continuing. I also want to upgrade all these bolts to the ARP ones, since they're these Allen bolts, and I do have 2 ARP bolts right here, but not the bottom one. So I kind of want to swap everything to the ARP just to make it look more show decent, along with these. And then I'm still debating whether I want these, since they're aluminum, get these polished or get them powder coated purple, or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but haven't really decided. So might do something with these as well. But all these need to be transferred over to that motor once that one's done. And then I'll have this spare motor and that spare motor to do whatever I want with it later on, or use them to, you know, start a new project. But apart from all the bullshit that has happened, we are gonna finally start or continue the motor this upcoming week. Finally, we're starting off with the piston rings that we need to cut individually. So you guys will see a video update on that. I'll probably post another YouTube video with the progress that we made so far. Some of these clips are from like when we were still back in Santa Barbara when we first started it, and then we ended up waiting for the heads and all that stuff, and then we had to move, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, some of the clips might be a little old, and then I'm kind of trying to make it into a montage type of video thing, putting the motor back together. But yeah, so this upcoming week, we're finally gonna get started on the motor again to finish that up finally. And I also want to say I'm super, super grateful for you guys for always supporting. I know some of you guys have been asking me, where's the car? What's happening with the car? When's the motor gonna be done and all this stuff? And yeah, so, you know, I just felt like I owed you guys this explanation on what was exactly happening and why it's been taking so long. But, you know, I hope you guys can understand from my perspective of what's happening, how much money has gone into this thing. But we are going to finish this build. We are going to continue with more content on Ruby, more content on transformations on customer cars and stuff like that. And, you know, I hope you guys stick around for even more fun content once we get the car up and running, because I want to drive the shit out of the car once it's up and running. But again, thank you guys so much for always supporting the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.